Quran chapter 33 Al-Ahzab. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. O Prophet, be careful of your duty to Allah and do not comply with the wishes of the unbelievers and the hypocrites. Surely Allah is knowing, wise. And follow what is revealed to you from your Lord. Surely Allah is aware of what you do, and rely on Allah, and Allah is sufficient for a protector. Allah is not made for any man two hearts within him, nor has He made your wives whose backs you liken to the backs of your mothers as your mothers, nor has He made those whom you assert to be your sons your real sons. These are the words of your mouths, and Allah speaks the truth, and He guides to the way. Assert their relationship to their fathers. This is more equitable with Allah. But if you do not know their fathers, then they are your brethren in faith and your friends, and there is no blame on you concerning that in which you made a mistake. But concerning that which your hearts do purposely, blame may rest on you, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. The Prophet has a greater claim on the fruitful than they have on themselves, and his wives are as their mothers, and the possessors of relationship have the better claim in the ordinance of Allah to inheritance, one with respect to another, than other believers, and than those who have fled their homes, except that you do some good to your friends. This is written in the book. And when we made a covenant with the prophets and with you, and with Nuh and Ibrahim and Musa and Isa, son of Maryam, and we made with them a strong covenant, that he may question the truthful of their truth, and he has prepared for the unbelievers a painful punishment. O you who believe, call to mind the favor of Allah to you when there came down upon you hosts. So we sent against them a strong wind and hosts that you saw not, and Allah is seeing what you do. When they came upon you from above you and from below you, and when the eyes turned dull and the hearts rose up to the throats, and you began to think diverse thoughts of Allah, there, there the believers were tried, and they were shaken with severe shaking. And when the hypocrites and those in whose hearts was a disease began to say, Allah and His apostle did not promise us victory, but only to deceive. And when a party of them said, O people of Yathrib, there is no place to stand for you here, therefore go back. And a party of them asked permission of the Prophet, saying, Surely our houses are exposed, and they were not exposed, they only desired to fly away. And if an entry were made upon them from the outlying parts of it, then they were asked to wage war. They would certainly have done it, and they would not have stayed in it but a little while. And certainly they had made a covenant with Allah before, that they would not turn their backs, and Allah's covenant shall be inquired of. Say, flight shall not do you any good if you fly from death or slaughter, and in that case you will not be allowed to enjoy yourselves but a little. Say, who is it that can withhold you from Allah if He intends to do you evil? Rather, He intends to show you mercy, and they will not find for themselves besides Allah any guardian or a helper. Allah knows indeed those among you who hinder others, and those who say to their brethren, Come to us, and they come not to the fight but a little, being niggardly with respect to you. But when fear comes, you will see them looking to you, their eyes rolling like one swooning because of death. But when the fear is gone, they smite you with sharp tongues, being niggardly of the good things. These have not believed, therefore Allah has made their doing naught, and this is easy to Allah. They think the allies are not gone, and if the allies should come again, they would fain be in the deserts with the desert Arabs, asking for news about you. And if they were among you, they would not fight save a little. Certainly, you have in the Apostle of Allah an excellent exemplar for him who hopes in Allah and the later day and remembers Allah much. And when the believers saw the allies, they said, This is what Allah and His Apostle promised us. And Allah and His Apostle spoke the truth, and it only increased them in faith and submission. Of the believers are men who are true to the covenant which they made with Allah. So of them is he who accomplished his vow, and of them is he who yet waits, and they have not changed in the least. That Allah may reward the truthful for their truth and punish the hypocrites if He please, or turn to them mercifully. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. And Allah turned back the unbelievers in their rage. They did not obtain any advantage, and Allah sufficed the believers in fighting, and Allah is strong, mighty. and he drove down those of the followers of the book who backed them from their fortresses. And he cast awe into their hearts. Some you killed, and you took captive another part. And he made you heirs to their land and their dwellings and their property, and to a land which you have not yet trodden, and Allah has power over all things. O Prophet, say to your wives, if you desire this world's life and its adornment, then come, I will give you a provision and allow you to depart a goodly departing. And if you desire Allah and His apostle and the later abode, then surely Allah has prepared for the doers of good among you a mighty reward. O wives of the Prophet, whoever of you commits an open indecency, the punishment shall be increased to her doubly, and this is easy to Allah. And whoever of you is obedient to Allah and His Apostle and does good, we will give to her reward doubly, and we have prepared for her an honorable sustenance. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like any other of the women. If you will be on your guard, then be not soft in your speech, lest he in whose heart is a disease yearn and speak a good word. And stay in your houses and do not display your finery like the displaying of the ignorance of yore. And keep up prayer and pay the poor rate and obey Allah and His Apostle. Allah only desires to keep away the uncleanness from you, O people of the house, and to purify you a thorough purifying. And keep to mind what is recited in your houses of the communications of Allah and the wisdom. Surely Allah is knower of subtleties, aware. Surely the men who submit and the women who submit, and the believing men and the believing women, and the obeying men and the obeying women, and the truthful men and the truthful women, and the patient men and the patient women, and the humble men and the humble women, and the almsgiving men and the almsgiving women, and the fasting men and the fasting women, and the men who guard their private parts, and the women who guard, and the men who remember Allah much, and the women who remember Allah, has prepared for them forgiveness and a mighty reward. And it behoves not a believing man and a believing woman that they should have any choice in their matter when Allah and His Apostle have decided a matter. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Apostle, he surely strays off a manifest straying. And Allah and when you said to him to whom Allah had shown favor and to whom you had shown a favor, keep your wife to yourself and be careful of your duty to Allah. And you concealed in your soul what Allah would bring to light, and you feared men, and Allah had a greater right that you should fear Him. But when Zaid had accomplished his want of her, we gave her to you as a wife, so that there should be no difficulty for the believers in respect of the wives of their adopted sons. Then when they have accomplished their want of their and them, and Allah's command shall be performed. There is no harm in the Prophet doing that which Allah has ordained for him. Such has been the course of Allah with respect to those who have gone before, and the command of Allah is a decree that is made absolute. Those who deliver the messages of Allah and fear Him and do not fear anyone but Allah, and Allah is sufficient to take account. Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, but he is the apostle of Allah and the last of the prophets, and Allah is cognizant of all things. O you who believe, remember Allah remembering frequently, and glorify Him morning and evening. He it is who sends His blessings on you, and so do His angels, that He may bring you forth out of utter darkness into the light, and He is merciful to the believers. Their salutation on the day that they meet Him shall be peace, and He has prepared for them an honorable reward. O Prophet, surely we have sent you as a witness, and as a bearer of good news, and as a warner, and as one inviting to Allah by His permission, and as a light giving torch. And give to the believers the good news that they shall have a great grace from Allah. And be not complaint to the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and leave unregarded their annoying talk, and rely on Allah, and Allah is sufficient as a protector. O you who believe, when you marry the believing woman, then divorce them before you touch them. You have in their case no term which you should reckon. So make some provision for them and send them forth a goodly sending forth. O Prophet, surely we have made lawful to you your wives, whom you have given their dowries, and those whom your right hand possesses, out of those whom Allah has given to you as prisoners of war. and the daughters of your paternal uncles, and the daughters of your paternal aunts, and the daughters of your maternal uncles, and the daughters of your maternal aunts, who fled with you, and a believing woman if she gave herself to the Prophet, if the Prophet desired to marry her, especially for you, not for the rest of believers. We know what we have ordained for them concerning their wives and those whom their right hands possess, in order that no blame may attach to you, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. You may put off whom you please of them, and you may take to you whom you please, and whom you desire of those whom you had separated provisionally. No blame attaches to you. This is most proper, so that their eyes may be cool and they may not grieve, and that they should be pleased, all of them, with what you give them. And Allah knows what is in your hearts, and Allah is knowing, forbearing. It is not allowed to you to take women afterwards, nor that you should change them for other wives, though their beauty be pleasing to you, except what your right hand possesses, and Allah is watchful over all things. O you who believe, do not enter the houses of the Prophet unless permission is given to you for a meal, not waiting for its cooking being finished. But when you are invited, enter, and when you have taken the food, then disperse, not seeking to listen to talk. Surely this gives the Prophet trouble, but he forbears from you, and Allah does not forbear from the truth. And when you ask for them any goods, ask of them from behind a curtain. This is purer for your hearts and for their hearts, and it this is purer for your hearts and for their hearts, and it does not behove you that you should give trouble to the apostle of Allah, nor that you should marry his wives after him ever. Surely this is grievous in the sight of Allah. If you do a thing openly or do it in secret, then surely Allah is cognizant of all things. There is no blame on them in respect of their fathers, nor their brothers, nor their brothers' sons, nor their sisters' sons, nor their own women, nor of what their right hand possess, and be careful of your duty to Allah. Surely Allah is a witness of all things. Surely Allah and His angels bless the Prophet. O you who believe, call for divine blessings on him and salute him with a becoming salutation. Surely, as for those who speak evil things of Allah and His apostle, Allah has cursed them in this world and the hereafter, and He has prepared for them a chastisement bringing disgrace. And those who speak evil things of the believing men and the believing women without their having earned it, they are guilty indeed of a false accusation and a manifest sin. O Prophet, say to your wives and your daughters and the women of the believers that they let down upon them their overgarments. This will be more proper that they may be known, and thus they will not be given trouble, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. If the hypocrites and those in whose hearts is a disease and the agitators in the city do not desist, we shall most certainly set you over them, then they shall not be your neighbors in it but for a little while. Cursed wherever they are found, they shall be seized and murdered, a horrible murdering. Such has been the course of Allah with respect to those who have gone before, and you shall not find any change in the course of Allah. Men ask you about the hour. Say, the knowledge of it is only with Allah, and what will make you comprehend that the hour may be nigh. Surely Allah has cursed the unbelievers and has prepared for them a burning fire. To abide therein for a long time, they shall not find a protector or a helper. On the day when their faces shall be turned back into the fire, they shall say, Oh, would that we had obeyed Allah and obeyed the Apostle. And they shall say, O our Lord, surely we obeyed our leaders and our great men, so they led us astray from the path. O our Lord, give them a double punishment and curse them with a great curse. O you who believe, be not like those who spoke evil things of Musa, but Allah cleared him of what they said, and he was worthy of regard with Allah. O you who believe, be careful of your duty to Allah and speak the right word. He will put your deeds into a right state for you and forgive you your faults. And whoever obeys Allah and His Apostle, he indeed achieves a mighty success. Surely we offered the trust to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, but they refused to be unfaithful to it and feared from it. And man has turned unfaithful to it. Surely he is unjust, ignorant. So Allah will chastise the hypocritical men and the hypocritical women and the polytheistic men and the polytheistic women, and Allah will turn mercifully to the believing men and women, and Allah is forgiving, merciful.